Welcome back to the Conservative Underground, doing the best things so conservatively. I'd like to apologize for my absence the past couple weeks. Let's just say I had the swine flu. But it's not that kind of pork that's making me nauseous right now. Everybody's talking reform. Reform the Republican Party. Reform the Republican Party. Well, McCain's talking about a move to the center. Jeb Bush is talking, forget Reagan. Folks, the Republican Party has had power and squandered it, allowing government to get bigger and bigger. There's no reform. These people are recidivists. The only hope is to put them somewhere where they can no longer harm themselves or others. This is difficult for me to say. It's been a part of my identity as long as I've been a male, as long as I've been straight, as long as I've been Catholic, as long as I've been an American. This was like waking up one morning and realizing I'd imagine that you're gay. I'm still uncomfortable with it. I have friends who've converted in their faith and had a harder time telling their family than my gay friends have had it coming out. Folks, the look of disappointment on my father's face when I told him that I could not cast a vote for McCain, who we had both cursed as a bipolar loose cannon just 4 years ago. McCain, who we had scorned as a blue dog and a rhino just one election cycle ago. Folks, this is tough. Remember, the Republican Party has left us. It is no heresy to flee a sinking ship. We did not lose the election because Obama is such a wonderful orator. Okay, he is. We lost the election because we failed to produce a Republican. What this country needed was a choice. A rhino with policy ideas that resemble what Barack is doing now is not a choice. A conservative would have been a choice. A pro-states' right leader would have been a choice. A pro-limited federal leader would have been a choice. Please note that I am not describing anyone within the current Republican Party at this time. Rhino or not, these are not the things of the Republican Party. At the Tea Party in New York, I was handed a sticker that said, "Reform the Republican Party." I promptly took out my Sharpie, crossed out the form, and wrote in place. Replace the Republican Party. There is no fix for the Republican Party. They need to be removed. I think we're finally waking up in America on the right. I think there's a stronger right rising. I think it's time we stop settling for those middle-of-the-road panderers. If you vote for the lesser of two evils, you still attach your name to evil. It is your name. You cannot have another. I love my father, but he voted for a man he hates. He put his support behind a man he hates because of party lines, because of a fear that no matter how close the two are, the other party would be worse. And true, perhaps Obama is worse than the McCain would have been, but as hard as it is, we have got to start voting our consciences. Okay, so Perot may have gotten Clinton elected, but if we don't start sending a message to these people, we will continue to be served rhino Republicans and real Republicans who have no interest in limiting our government. And with big government comes big problems. A big enough government can consent to implementing torture 1 month, and then deny having done so when the method in question becomes unpopular. We don't recall being told about waterboarding. We didn't realize that these practices would actually be used when we were briefed on waterboarding. This kind of revisionist history and finger-pointing has happened before. In Russia, in Germany, in Cuba, in Spain. And these guys were doing their job. It's like being an abortionist and then being tried for performing your job. You can change the law and then try people who offend the law post implementation of the law. But you can't punish somebody for breaking the law when the law didn't yet exist, especially if you helped to create the law. Yeah, no laws were actually in place, but Pelosi and company were briefed on these interrogation techniques. How can we continue to re-elect such self-serving liars that will willingly feed their subordinates to the wolves just to save themselves in their own re-election? It's one thing to want to believe that what looked like a textbook demolition was really the result of a tiny plane crashing to the side of a mountainous building. That kind of evil is inconceivable. It has to come from an alien culture. It can't possibly be part of our civilization. But it's another thing entirely to let our government support an action 1 month, and then the next to outright persecute and deny support. I hope this is an act, a sleight of hand designed to make them think we're soft. Pay no attention to this type distraction, sleight of hand, while we're secretly harder on our detainees than anyone could possibly imagine. I hope, but I have no faith. We're too busy being our own enemy to interrogate foreign-born enemies. Let me read to you from H.R. 1388, the Edward Kennedy Red Flag Serve America Act. The Edward Kennedy Serve America Act, aka the Generations Invigorating Volunteerism and Education Act, aka GIVE. Oh, doesn't that make you feel good and warm about everything that America can do? Section 6104 of the Generations Invigorating Volunteerism and Education Act requires that a commission be established to investigate, quote, whether a workable, fair, and reasonable mandatory service requirement for all able young people could be developed, and how such a requirement could be implemented in a manner that would strengthen the social fabric of the nation and overcome civic challenges by bringing together people from diverse economic, ethnic, and educational backgrounds. They're even talking about uniforms. I would recommend the brown shirts. Brown's a good color. It would show solidarity with the brown shirt scouting movement of Ukraine and with the youth of 20s Germany. They're backpedaling on the issue now, but from the mere fact that they signed the bill into law, that proves the reach of power that they would have if we don't hold them accountable. Just think, a generation of peacetime youth forced into service and summertime education. How marvelous for our country. I don't know about anybody else, but in my high school we already have this program. We were forced to choose a community service project in our senior year. And you know what that taught me? To resent and spite the government, to resent and spite anyone who would force me to do community service, something that's supposed to be out of the goodness and kindness of my own heart. You know what I did? I did ushering at the local community theater for my community service. I got to watch plays for my community service. And you know what? I urge you to do the same thing. If there's any students out there listening, please deny the government any right to force you into community service. Service is from the heart, not from the big brother. It is your patriotic duty. Rebel!